Hey guys, took me a minute to get logged in and trying to adjust this camera a little bit. See if we can get the other two over here. We're gonna give it just a couple minutes for some people to pop over. Can you see me okay and hear me okay? If you can hear me and see me, give me a 555, please. Perfect. Okay. Um, okay, so I wanted to do somewhat of a birthday celebration, even though my birthday was actually on the 27th. But I could not go live on the 27th because we were actually, thank you, Jens. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Virginia. Hi, Will. Vision. I know B's in here too. Virginia. But we were actually on the road coming back from our meetup, which I'm going to tell y'all all about. It was amazing. Um, Anyways, we were on the road. It took a long time to get there and a long time to get back. Even though it wasn't super far away, we went at a slower speed so we didn't burn as much gas because gas prices between here and there. Hi, Grave. Thank you. It was a short distance, but the gas prices were ridiculous. So we decided for my birthday we were going to go out of town and meet some family that's in another state. Uh, so for anyone who is wondering, I do not mind sharing. It was my 44th birthday. I know I still look like I'm 18, of course. Water does wonders. But anyways, hi B, there you are. We actually went up to Virginia for my birthday, and we had an amazing time. We got to go foraging and adventuring, and we went camping, like real camping, not like in a cabin camping. And we got to share food and fellowship and talk about our pasts and our views on things and opinions. And it was absolutely amazing to be able to sit there and talk with people that have the same core values, the same beliefs, and still have different thoughts on things that kind of make you think about things possibly a different way, not in a bad way, but just in a different way. And for example, I'm going to use um, B and I were having a conversation about um, basically when we're all gone and we're all in heaven, what is going to happen to our animals. I'm a huge animal lover. Y'all don't even know. I love all animals to death. I am not afraid to hold them. I am not afraid to approach them. All animals, they're amazing. But I told B, I said, well, we all get new bodies, new glorified bodies when we're gone. So what if we get to heaven and another individual walks up to you and they're like, hey, do you know who I am? I was Fido. So how do you know that animals don't also get those glorified bodies where they can actually converse with you and you can understand them and they can understand you other than sit and stay and go outside. Um, and it would just be really cool to actually all be, even our animals, being glorified bodies to where we would be even more of an extended family. Just a thought. Nobody really knows. We won't know till we get there. But back to the trip. The first night we got there, it was out in the middle of nowhere. It took us quite a while to get there. I think we got there close to midnight. And the first night, y'all know that Brian at Be Ready um, goes to bed early, very early. I cannot confirm nor deny that there has been random phone calls at midnight from his family in other states just to see if he really is available when that little green light is on and kept him from going to bed. But the first night we got there, we actually stayed up until uh, 4 o'clock in the morning. We kept Brian up till 4 o'clock in the morning, believe it or not. Hi, blessings. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it so much. Hi, Nikki. Rock Chick. I cannot believe you're still awake too. That's so awesome. Um, yeah, we kept him until 4 o'clock in the morning. Just believing that we were actually sitting there in person with each other instead of through a screen. It was such a genuine, loving, close feeling that I just can't even explain. Y'all, if you have a relationship with someone out there that's like family, I encourage you, if you can, to meet them in one way or another, even if it's halfway. Meet them, because it is just so awesome to be able to sit and be close like that without the computer in between. Um, so we all slept in the next morning, and I got up. I'm not a morning person at all. But I made breakfast for everyone so that we could eat, because I don't think any of us really ate dinner very well the night before because we were on the road and everyone else was kind of sitting waiting for us. I don't think they really wanted to eat anything till we got there because they didn't know what time we were coming. So the next morning, I made this huge breakfast. Uh, no, Paula, we stayed at the campsite. Um, yeah, we stayed at the campsite. There was so much to do at the camping place. Um, so then we decided, and I'm probably going to do this all out of order because the weekend kind of ran together. But we decided after we ate, it was really hot. It was like B says I made food for an army. No, I think he just eats like a bird. No, I'm just kidding. I make a lot of food. I make enough food to where people are not going to go home hungry. They are going to be full and there is going to be leftovers. That's just how my mom taught me. Nobody goes home hungry. Nobody goes to bed hungry. And there was a ton of leftovers. I think the first morning I made 20 eggs and 3.5 pounds of bacon. And there was only 4 or 5 of us. There was only 4 or 5 of us. So yeah, 20 eggs and 3.5 pounds of bacon, and we ate all but about 5 slices of bacon, um, which doesn't surprise me because I like to eat bacon in the first place. I could sit there and eat a pound myself, believe it or not. But so then after we ate breakfast, we got really hot, really, really hot. We tried to fish. They said there was fish in the water, but I really think they had these little machines or something in the water that just jumped out of the water every once in a while. So you thought there was a fish, because we never actually caught any fish at all. I think they were fake just to make you keep trying. Um, so we decided to go find the river. Um, we wanted to go swim to cool off because we had no electric, no water. Um, it was real camping. No stove. We cooked um on the fire pit. Like, it was as if you had to go out and bring what you want to survive off of for the weekend. That was what we did. And we found this river. We got to this place and we thought it was the wrong place because we were told the water was chest deep and it was ankle deep. And we were trying to figure out, how were we going to swim in this ankle deep water? So Be Ready today and I are standing down there while the other people are up top. And we're like, well, you know what? We're hot. Even if we have to, put our feet in, we are going to at least cool off that way. So we go back up to get the other party. And one of the other party tells me to save the turtle. And I'm looking around for a turtle. So I find this little turtle and I go to grab it because I told y'all I'm an animal lover. Uh, I went to grab this turtle and take it down to the river to set it free, as if it couldn't find its own way. It found its way at the top of the hill, but I was going to help it because turtles are slow. And Be Ready was like, "Oh, wait, it's digging." And I was like, "What do you mean it's digging?" So we get a foot, I'm not exaggerating, a foot from this turtle, and she lays her eggs right in front of us. We watched 6 or 7 eggs come out of this turtle like this big, and it was the most amazing, beautiful, natural thing that I have never seen in real life. I've always seen it on TV, on the beaches, and I mean, I was so close. Like if I were a doctor, I could have been delivering these eggs. I could have reached out and just caught them and put them in the little hole for her. It was so amazing. Um, but we watched her probably for at least a half an hour, I would say, because none of us had ever seen this before. And not only does she lay them, this little tiny turtle covered up her hole so gently and completely camouflaged it with leaves and twigs and made the dirt all um, as if it was never touched. It was so invisible. If you didn't know there was eggs there, you would have never known by walking by. It was so amazing. So after all this, we went down to the river and we realized that the water did get about to our knees, and we decided to somewhat swim. I sat in it. We kind of sat in it because I'm the shortest one and I couldn't even swim in it. But we did take the dogs down there, my dogs, and they have never swam before. I actually have a dog that does not like to get her feet wet. So I took her and made her get out in that water and we taught them how to swim, sort of. One already kind of knew, but the other one swam like when you're teaching your toddler how to swim and they have their hands out and it's just kerplunk, kerplunk, kerplunk. That was exactly what one of my baby girls did. And it was quite funny. I've never seen a dog swim like that before, but she swam and it was awesome. Then we got out of the water. We all finally cooled off after we uh, kind of sat in the water, threw the water over, whatever we could to cool off. We get out of the water and one of my dogs starts going crazy. She is a bug catcher in general. It doesn't matter if it's a butterfly, a dragonfly, a bumblebee. She is quick and she will catch it. Well, she was snapping around as if she was trying to catch a bug. Well, once we all got out of the water, we got swarmed by uh, horse flies. And if you all don't know what horse flies do, they're not like your normal little house flies. They are flies the size of a small planet and they latch on. You feel them bite you. They latch on and they will sit there and suck your blood out until it is a chunk with blood rolling down. It's disgusting. I'm sorry for the details, but this is what horse flies do. So once we got it to the hill, I realized that one of my girls had a horsefly stuck to her. It was already like had a chunk in her. So I had to like flick it off and she finally settled down a little bit. But for the rest of the trip, every time she heard any buzzing at all, whether it be a mosquito, a fly, a dragonfly, whatever, she would flip out because she thought it was a dragonfly coming to try to eat her alive again. Oh, good night, Grave. Thank you so much, hon, for coming by and for staying up this late. I know it's late there. Um, so we got back to the camp and we made dinner, which of course I had to make dinner for an army again. But we had steaks and veggies and baked potatoes all made on the fire pit, pigged out, not even kidding, pigged out. And then again, stayed up till I think it was 2 in the morning, maybe. Um, we all slept in, of course, again because we were exhausted from the heat. And the next day we went foraging. And the property we were at was called Blackwater Birds and Bees. 3:10 a.m. So I recommend if you are in the US, this place is located in Virginia, and I recommend it. If you want an off grid um, place that is secluded with animals around, and I'm talking animals like um, free roaming chickens, turkeys, goats, peacocks. Um, I'm missing something. There was something else there. Roosters, which I would have loved for the rooster to have fallen off a cliff, both of them, because when one wasn't crowing over here, the other one was crowing over here. We should have cooked them for dinner, really. Um, but we let them live. But we did have a peacock visitor, which was pretty cool. And thank you, Brian, for that link. I do appreciate it. I definitely appreciate that. Check that out if you want to get have a nice camping place and you're in the US. Sorry if I'm talking really fast. There's just so much information. Um, if you want to go somewhere that's camping, that's off grid, secluded, beautiful, I recommend y'all look up this place because it was just amazing. We were right on the lake, so we had somewhat of a nice breeze come across the lake every once in a while, and it was close enough to where we could get to the little store, little mom and pop shop right across the street. That arc, it would have been a blast if y'all would have came. It was so much fun. Um, the little mom and pop shop, she actually uses the fruits on her property to make the wine that they sell in their shop. And it was so good. She called us for a wine tasting, and it was blueberry wine, blackberry wine. There's another one that I can't ever pronounce right, so I'm not even going to try. But anyways, there was muscadine wine. I mean, all these fruits are from their property. And the foraging, when the guy came and got us for the foraging, oh, the beehives. That was the other thing they had. They have beehives. Um, the guy came to get us for the foraging and he's like, "How long do you guys want to go?" And we're like, "Well, how long is it?" He said, "I can take you for an hour." Okay, well, no problem. I could take you for 2 hours. If you're really interested, we can go for 3 hours. And Be Ready's like, "Well, I don't want to go for 3 hours, but let's go see how long we can go. So we went, and I didn't even know this, but maybe 15 feet down the road was a wild blackberry bush that we could have went and picked all these fresh blackberries off of and snacked on. And then 10 feet down from that was wild blueberries that this man started every single one of. I think he had 150 blueberry bushes, and he started every single one of them from clippings from another blueberry plant. It was just huge. There was so many blueberries you couldn't even get to the middle, and they were so good, juicy, huge blueberries. Um, so we walked by. He told us to eat as many as we wanted. So we walked by, grab handfuls as we're walking. I said, "How do you keep the birds off of all of these? Because the birds, guys, ate all of my blueberries in my garden." He said, "You have to share." I said, "Well, please tell that to my birds because they didn't share it all. They ate them all. I have nothing left on my plants." And he just kind of laughed at me. Um, Then he showed us some trees that he had that I'm going to share some videos that will give more details. He gave so much information in this. I think we were gone for 2 hours, maybe. Brian, were we gone like 2 hours? It felt like 2 hours at least, but they had something. We got to a plant that as soon as he said what it was, I knew exactly what it was used for. He had tons and tons of sassafras that was growing on his property. And for those of you that do not know what sassafras is used for, it is what they used to make root beer out of, like real root beer, not, oddly enough, that's what I'm drinking right now, not the fake root beer that you get in the stores now. And I am one that I know a good bit about herbs and wild berries and so forth. I don't know everything. I'm not an expert, but I know sassafras is safe. So as soon as he pulled this leaf off and handed it to me, I ripped off a piece and I chomped down on it like I knew what it was and it was going to be amazing. And as soon as I tossed it in my mouth, Brian's eyes at Be Ready, they got this big. And he looked at me and he looked at our tour guide and he's like, "Is that toxic?" And the guy's like, "No, no, it's okay." And I was like amazed at how great this tasted because it was the natural root beer flavor that you can't get in the artificial flavors anymore. So we all took a piece off and they all shared, and it takes a minute to get those juices flowing to get that flavor. Um, so the first bite, someone spit out, and then they got the aftertaste, and they were like, "Oh wait, let me try some more." So that they chewed it up just a little bit more, and they got that flavor. So then we went along farther, and we saw some amazing, amazing, beautiful flowers that are very rare. Different kinds of lilies that grow in the wild, and um, I can't even remember that these this man has over 10,000 different herbs, fruits, uh, spices on his property. And he is not exaggerating. It is as far as the eyes can see, and combination and mixtures just everywhere. I do remember we had one uh, invasive plant, can't remember the name of it, but it smelled when he cut it off, it smelled like peanut butter. This plant smelled like peanut butter. And I told him that we would go ahead and burn it in our fire pit since he cut it off to get rid of it for him. So when we took it back to camp and burned it in the fire pit, it actually smelled like burnt peanut butter, which was very strange. Thank you, old car junkie. I appreciate that. That's so sweet of you to come too. So then we kept going down, and the man took off another bit of herb, and he's like, you seem like you have an extended palate, basically. And he wanted me to taste something and tell him what I thought it tasted like. So, of course, I bit off this. It probably looked like I was just chomping on weeds from the yard, which, whatever, I don't even care because it was amazing. And the flavor hit me, but I could not place it. And it was called, like, the normal, not the scientific name, but what people call it is poor man's mustard. And it tasted just like horseradish, which was so cool. And he pulled out a piece and gave it to me with the root so that I could plant it when I got home, as soon as I got home, I shoved it in a pot. And then he had another plant that it was a big wild bush that had these little curly cues with these little bitty leaves at the end. And he said it took him probably about 15 minutes to find the ends of this because the deer were coming and stealing all of these bits of this bush because it was the only edible part on this bush. When you ate the ends, he finally found one. It was so good. We almost didn't have any left to bring back to camp for some people to try. Um, but it tasted just like snow peas. And it was just this little tiny vine and off of this huge bush, and it tasted just like snow peas. It was really cool. Then there was another plant that tasted like a spicy oregano, which was very strange, but something that I could see myself cooking with. But it was a part of the mint family. And I found out that oregano, basil, thyme, all of those are actually members of the mint family. And I did not know that. So hang on one second. I'm talking so much because there's so much to tell. Um, Let me see. So then after we and Be Ready joined us for about 45 minutes, and he ended up getting some heat exhaustion and had to go back to camp early with another party because of how hot it was. And we continued on to gather some stuff to bring back for him. which he's doing okay. He just needed a whole lot of water, some cool down, and a snack, and then he pepped right back up. So we went back. We had so much food left over from the night before that we decided to heat up some leftovers. And we did that. And we're all sitting there talking. And then Be Ready wants to go fishing. And it is pitch black outside, even though, like I said at the beginning, I don't think any of those fish were real because we didn't catch any and we were all trying. He gets almost to the edge of the water with his headlamp, and thank God he was looking down as he was walking to the water. Thank you, Joe, because he got about a foot and a half, maybe 2 feet from a water moccasin that was coming up on the shore to where we were sitting around the fire pit, which is very odd behavior for them. They don't normally come up towards people if they're not threatened, but this good sized snake was moving up towards us. And because I am an animal lover, I always want to give an animal a chance to escape before I dispose of it, I guess, terminate its ability to come at me anymore. I've always done that. I've always given things a chance. And everyone there thought I was crazy, but they respected my wishes. And we, honest to God, did everything that we could to get this water moccasin to go away. We, Brian had from Be Ready, had taken some bark from the logs that we were burning and had tossed it over by where it was to try to get it to scurry back in the water. And this water moccasin actually bit the bark, attacked the bark. And then it kind of backed up and it was they wanted to. We had it ready, but I wanted to give it a chance to live. So then I remembered snakes don't like fire. So this little 5'4" girl decides to take a log about this big and light the end of it like a torch and throw it at the snake or around it to get it to go back in the water. This snake, which by the way, I almost burned myself because I was thinking about the snake and I held the log the wrong way, but I did throw a log that was flaming. This snake backed up and then came back at the log that was on fire and just kept staring at it with its mouth like ready to bite this log that was on fire. And I know lots of you guys are like, I would have shot it at that point. But guess what? This girl was giving it another chance because I felt it still deserved to live. Maybe it was a little bit too much food that night, not thinking straight. So another party had me hold a flashlight while they went to go get something to uh, light it up, basically, in case it did come at us. So as I'm watching this snake, it goes back to the log that is no longer on fire. The fire's gone out because it's partially in the water, and it is like biting the log. Very massively aggressive water moccasin, which they are aggressive, but this one was exceptionally aggressive. So Be Ready decided to go get an axe. The other party decided to go get something to light it up. And I'm standing there with a flashlight like this, watching it, making sure it doesn't come at me. And another party comes out and they're like, "What are y'all doing?" And sees the snake and turns around and just goes back to bed. So basically, three fools sitting there playing with a water moccasin. They're like, "I'm not having any of that." Went back to bed. We probably should have went to bed too, but we were determined to do something with this snake. So we tried one more time. Be Ready had gotten a big long branch with multiple twigs. And yes, he was smart. He wasn't having any of the nonsense we were doing. So he took the branch and he like hit it in front of the snake to try to scare it into the water. That snake went out into the water, went around the corner. We were like, okay, cool, it's gone. It came back and came back up on the shore towards us. It must have been, excuse my language, pissed by that point because it had already had bark thrown at it, a flaming log thrown at it, whacked with a branch, blinded by a flashlight, and threatened with a bang bang. So I'm sure it was not happy at all. And so Brian went up, and before the other party could make noise, because we had other campers around us, he went and chopped it up into about 5 pieces with the axe. So no more snake. And the turtles were happy they got fed for that night. That was our adventure for the first snake. I hunt him down. Pickle found one a couple days ago. Kings and rat snakes are sometimes safe. The rest of them get sent to the snake afterlife. So funny you should mention rat snake, because the next day, as we're packing up, I'm washing dishes in a water basin because there's no sink. We don't have any running water other than the lake that you don't really want to wash your dishes in because it's standing water, and you know, there's other bodily fluids probably in there. So I go to walk away for a minute to go get in the shade because by this day I am fried, which actually that's what this little line here is. I'm still shedding from peeling. Um, I cooled off. I started to come back to finish the dishes in the water basin, and I turn and look, and there you go, your rat snake, and it was a good size rat snake. And I was like, "Oh, hello!" And I back up, and we're kind of standing there watching it to see where it goes. Hi, dig deeper. Thank you for coming. If you guys are still in here, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up. I would totally appreciate that because everyone needs to hear these cool stories that are talking about today. Yeah, that snake was about 4 feet long. It was huge, and it slithered right where I was doing my dishes, where my water basin was for my dishes. So if I would have been sitting there, this big old 4 foot snake would have came right between me and the water basin, and I probably would have fell over because it wouldn't have registered what kind of snake it was after the night before running into the water moccasin. So it was an adventure, to say the least. Um, no, I'm missing a lot. We did find out after the fact of leaving that there was a gun range, which we wish we would have known earlier, but we do know for next time now. And we're planning on doing another meetup, um, to have some fun with Vision Preparedness, who is going to come and spend some time with us. But he had a family emergency, and we convinced him to stay home this time, but we'll make up for next time. And we had peacocks. Let's see what. Oh, and then at the end, as um, we had a great conversation, Brian and I. He wonders why I'm afraid of some things and not afraid of others, because when we were there, he was kind of surprised that a lot of things out there didn't startle me or hold me back. Um, and one of those things that he was surprised about when we were leaving is I'm actually allergic to bees, but I don't like needles, so I don't carry around EpiPens with me, which sounds strange. Um, but when we were leaving, the owners were there, and we ended up parking right by the beehives. And I got out where the beehives were and all the bees were around, and Brian couldn't believe that I was getting out with the bees. And I told him if they don't bother me, I won't bother them. They don't bother me. We're good. But we went on the way out, and I got to pick up a chicken, which shocked Brian. And he'll have videos of that where I was holding this little chicken and cuddling it and putting it to sleep. And um, I'll let him tell you about that. I'm actually going to bring up Vision, who was supposed to be on this trip. You didn't have to do that. You ready? You could have kept it. Oh, you're muted. I still can't hear you. Can anyone else hear Trent, or is it just me? Oh, you know what? I bet it's just me. Say something. Nope. Hold on. I'm gonna get to my phone. Sorry, guys. Give me just 1 second to fix my audio. Say something now. All right. Virginia says she can't hear you either. It's not just me. Thank you, Virginia. Thank you, blessings. Brian, I'm going to bring you up. There we go. Yeah, you're so funny.
Hello.
I'm going to try to bring Trent up again.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Trent, no, we can't hear you.
No. Okay, so
can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, so I want to talk about Brian's first holding of, this is going to sound terrible, but I totally mean this innocent, guys.
It's okay, you know.
Brian holding a chicken, a real chicken, like with feathers. Let me just clarify that, because I know some of y'all in my audience are going to take that way out. So Brian got to hold a chicken, and
he don't know how to hold no chicken.
There we go.
I was about to eat them, but I respect the folks that we were staying with.
Nice.
And he got to learn how to pet a chicken correctly and to listen and follow directions, or he'll get pecked.
There we go.
And we are talking about a real fowl. You know,
so cute.
You'll see some videos about it.
Nice.
Yes.
I didn't follow direction, you know, like I always do. You know, I'm always the one who tries. And I got picked. And then I put him down.
Okay. Smart man.
I told Brian, because I'm an animal person, I said, Brian, I said, here's how you hold it. I said, have you ever held a chicken? He said, no. I said, you cradle it like a football. You let the legs hang. Hold it gently but firmly. So he holds it. His legs are hanging. I said, now if you want to pet it, you have to pet right at the nape of the neck. He's petting the nape of the neck. It's starting to fall asleep. And
yes,
Brian's Brian says, I think it likes it here too, and goes to the front of the neck, and that chicken said, what? And he's like, oh, okay. And he put it down, and it like went away.
Time for you to go back in the coop.
Yeah. It was so funny. I was like, how did that work for you? It was great.
Yeah.
3 words sounds like, give me a hint, Vision. Really?
3 words sounds like, give me a Vision.
Oh, do we have any questions? Well, let me go back. Did I miss any? I want to thank you all also for all the happy birthdays. I truly, truly appreciate it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Christy. Happy blessed birthday to you. It's the only time I will ever
You.
sing to you because you, my girl, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And many more.
I was waiting for the smell like a monkey, and you look like
No,
one too. That's how
no,
we used to sing it.
no.
Because I probably
I,
did smell
I
like a
was
monkey
going
after
to,
camping.
never mind. I was,
All right. Does anybody have any questions while I'm scrolling up and looking for ones I missed? So Brian was on this trip with me, as well as some other people. And Trent, Vision Preparedness, wanted to come, but he had the family emergency that was not going to be able to make it. But we're going to meet up again very, very soon. Make sure I didn't miss anyone. But if you have questions, definitely ask because Be Ready can answer them as well.
and I'm going to go grab my cup of coffee, number 2 for the night.
I have a question about our experience. What was the most shocking thing? Oh, well, second shocking thing because I keep saying cottonmouth, but it's not a rattlesnake. It's a
Moccasin.
Moccasin. But what was, other than the moccasin, what was the most exciting thing or shocking thing that we did?
That we did or that happened?
That happened.
That you looked at me and said, "Oh my goodness, you are real."
I'll be back. That was good.
Go ahead.
That shocked me the most. It was like, what do you think I am, a computer? Not to mention, y'all, when you see the picture, we did a final picture together before we left. We were all smelly and dirty and like you could tell we've been camping without showers.
Yeah.
I am at least a foot shorter than Be Ready. I am seriously, y'all don't even know how teeny tiny I am.
No, she's a little tight.
But I will hold my own. Dynamite comes in small packages.
You know what? Where is she? I tell you, she went. Look, you guys who have been listening, she went Roman on the snake. Got a stick, made it burn, almost got burned, and threw the stick at the snake.
A stick? It was a stick?
No, it was a piece of firewood.
I was like, so y'all catch a fish this big, and the fish is this big.
Right.
But I light a log on fire, and it becomes a stick?
Yeah.
How does that work?
No, it was at least 18 inches long.
The log.
Yep. And it was a log. It was a log.
But when you threw the log, did it hit the snake?
I hit right next to it. I was trying to hit it just on this side so it would go into the water.
Mistake number 1. Okay, if you're gonna throw something at it,
was not letting
it was on fire, and
you hit it. It's okay.
Not,
that's good. If it's on fire, and if you throw it at the snake, you hit the snake with it. You don't scare.
Well,
no, it wasn't. You burn it up. You kill it.
I didn't want it to die. I was giving it a chance to live.
We were giving it a
you should have
chance.
walked over and talked to it nicely and asked him to go back into the water.
I actually did. I said, "Can you please just go back into the water, please?"
That sounds like you.
Just go back.
All I wanted to do was do some nighttime fishing to prove that the lake wasn't AI and the lake wasn't the Matrix. All the fish jumping, even near the shore, but.
I'm still scrolling. There's a lot of comments.
Did we miss anything? I'm trying to see.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Anton, if you haven't left yet, thank you so much for coming by. I appreciate it. Thank you for the happy birthday. I did see that at the top. Once I scrolled back up, I missed you when you came in, and I apologize wholeheartedly for that.
Anton, yes, take care. Blessings.
That was from your singing.
I don't know about fantastic Virginia bushcrafter, but yeah, I try. Like my grandmama used to say, do something, even if it's wrong, do something. What'd you
Like
learn?
Oh, Mike said, "What did you learn?"
from which part? From from throwing the apparently the stick at the snake, or from the trip in general, or both?
Well, I could tell you one thing I learned,
People
and
are real.
this is um, and it's like these guys. You know how sometimes you meet people on the internet. I'm not going to get too serious here, and you think, "Oh my goodness, like that person is Superman." you know, look at all the stuff they do, and then but these guys are real. I learned that sometimes you have to, in order to make friends, you got to show yourself friendly, and then let God do the rest. And it was like we were sitting. It was weird because we were sitting there looking at each other, and smiling and laughing. It's like I said, "Okay, so you're real, you and you're genuine, hardcore, genuine." I keep saying military. The folks that I was out in at camp with, I learned will have my back, and that's hard for me to say after all the
And your
time we talked
knees,
on video.
because of how short I am.
well, yeah,
I got your knees covered.
like she came up to like here. I don't know, but I learned too that sometimes when you meet folks, you can actually trust them. Not everyone, because mother would tell you my that first night, be ready radar was. you know, you can tell them like without getting the video banned, you can tell them kind of sort of what I said.
He says the first night we get there, I don't know how many are still in here, but this is pretty funny. And if you're still in here, you'll laugh at this. And if Will is still in here, he'll laugh at this too.
And if you don't mind, don't share. Don't
No,
share.
I'm not. I'm not. So the first night where he meets us for the first time, we're all there together and we're all going to bed. We're winding down. We're going to bed. And he goes to his tent and he's like, "This is my piece. And it stays right next to me." And I said, "Okay." And I walked away. I was like, "I don't care." Like, I would hope if we're out in the middle of nowhere, we all have a piece because of things like what happened and could have been worse. Because, there was coyotes out there too. Luckily, we didn't
Coyotes.
see any, but there were coyotes out there too.
I saw
Yeah.
3 fox when I went to pick up something. Yeah.
Yep. But it was funny because he was like, "This is my da da da, and it's gonna be right next to me." And I'm thinking, whatever, okay. Like I didn't even care. But I knew the process of why it was being said like that. I got it, but it was just so funny that he acted like that towards a little 5'4" person.
Well,
Marvelous voice.
it wasn't just
I'll take
directed
that,
at
Virginia
you.
bushcrafter.
It wasn't
Thank
really directed at you per se.
Why? I can't handle my own?
No, you
I
can't.
could have crawled right under your bed as small as I am.
you. That don't even sound good.
Yeah, no, scratch that.
Yeah. And mind you, I have a little cot, and the cot is only like the 4 inches from the ground. So, yep, she. Mike says something new from the whole trip.
Something we learned.
Something you
trip.
learned, something new.
You go ahead, mother.
There's actually a few things. One of them is there's still genuinely nice people out there. Few and far between, but they are out there.
Are they?
Yeah,
They are.
I'm still
They
looking.
are. One is here and one is right there. And one is over in the chat. Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, him
chat,
too,
where
I
are you
guess.
looking?
I have
Okay,
to give
well,
him
there
some
you
cooking
go.
lessons.
Yeah.
Okay.
I bet we would tear up a kitchen together.
Yes, very much so. Yes.
I cooks.
You did. 20 eggs and some sausage and some
Well,
chicken noodle soup without the noodles and soup.
okay, you want to tell them what I actually did, or want me to tell them?
Go ahead.
So, practice. You got to bring food. So I brought chicken. I brought, there's, peppers and onions and mushrooms,
It's hot out.
red peppers and green peppers,
Red and green?
red and green. Yep.
Nice.
Is that helping?
No.
And we ate pretty well that particular small meal.
Yes.
And guys that were on the previous live, what did it taste like?
Chicken noodle
Chicken.
soup without the soup or noodles.
Yeah, it was dehydrated food.
I think it was really squirrel, but he's not going to tell us because he kept telling us he was going to cook a squirrel. I think he snuck some in.
Yeah, I was
Hi, Red
gonna
Scout.
bring
Thank you so
one.
much for the birthday wishes.
Red.
Red.
You did. I bet you did. I bet that's why you left the forging. You went and caught a squirrel, didn't you?
No, I couldn't.
You had another hour and 15 minutes to skin it, clean it, and chop it up and sneak
I
it in
will
our
not.
food.
What's the term? I will not.
Confirm
I will
Cannot
nor
confirm
deny.
nor deny.
confirm nor deny.
I better not
I will.
eat
I
a
will
squirrel.
assert my Fifth Amendment privilege. Mojo says he cooking up some roadkill.
He probably did. He
I tell
probably
you what.
did. While I was gone forging, he probably caught a squirrel or, I don't know, a toad or something, a turtle.
No, the toads were too small, and the
Yes,
turtle.
but
I
the
mean, she
chicken was
gave
little
her.
pieces. You could have had a lot of frogs.
Well, the never mind. I was gonna say
Spit it
something. I was gonna say something, but sorry. Let's just say everything was dry at first, but it had the
So
nutrients.
it was roadkill, like Mojo said, because it had been sitting out in the sun for a while.
Oh man, hey, you got to try it. You got to try it.
Nope.
That makes
Nope.
sense. Gotta try it.
Yep.
So after this live, guys, I just want to tell you, after this live, we came from Be Ready, and he wanted me to be able to share a lot of what happened on the trip, and I probably missed a good bit. But after this, we plan on. Sorry, I got a message. We plan on jumping over to Vision Preparedness's live stream he's actually gonna have a live stream at 9:30, and we're talking about camping and the food and everything we made and being prepared and the dehydrated foods and so forth. And Vision is actually going to touch on talking about the food and the prices in the grocery store today, and how that we can do better without spending our entire paycheck in the grocery store. So if you guys
I'm
are still
done.
around at
I'm
9:30, please hop over to Vision Preparedness, because he will give you some tips and tricks and some advice on how to take care of a lot of those things if you're struggling already, and it's only going to get more expensive.
Yes.
So
It
beware
is.
of that.
It's
Yeah,
going to get
unfortunately.
horrific.
Yeah, it's And
I
for
just
some
wanted to
it
get
might,
that in there before I forgot for anyone that is still in here. I still think we have quite a few people in here. If y'all have any more questions, we did have a peacock roam through our
yes.
camp, which was so cool. I tried to get see you said I probably just talked nicely to the snake, which I did. I tried to talk the peacock into ruffling his tail too. I asked him nicely and he wouldn't listen. I did. I
And
tried to get him to fluff it.
I didn't know that peacocks were so huge,
Oh
and so I
yeah.
was going to try to agitate him, but
To
his
get him to ruffle the feathers.
yeah, but
Hmm.
his head was like near my navel, and I'm like, and he was long, and I'm
Hmm.
like, nah, I'm
He was
gonna ruffle.
curious though. He
Yeah,
did
he
the
was.
whole head thing where when they're kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
excited but
yeah,
curious.
yeah. It
I'm
was
like looking like a weirdo here.
and this was he came through our camp
Yep.
just to say hello. And we had a
Wow.
chicken that walked through and stayed a while. You know,
Yeah, that was cool too because my dogs had never seen a chicken before.
yeah.
So they did very, very
Really?
well. I'm getting those links right now for you, Mojo.
I was going to say, I do have,
I's working on it.
I was working on it.
My baby girl and big guy with the first snake, second snake, with the dog coming through there because we didn't tell you guys about the dog that kind of came through.
Too
Um,
slow.
yeah, they weren't. They wouldn't have. It would have been a little, quite different.
Yes. The girls did good
Yeah, yeah, they really.
considering
Oh, they're such. Oh man, they're so
everything
cool.
new.
You see, like it's just like again, you talk to people and they say one thing, but they may be different. Everything that I've known this young lady and her family from her mother, and actually her mother uh, brought us together. You know, everything and then some. Cool, cool people. Cool people.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
It really was. It was a good time considering all the mishaps we had. Um, so much food. There was so
Yeah.
much. I brought 40 eggs alone, and we cooked all of them in a matter of 3 days, 23rd,
Three days.
24th, 25th,
Yeah, three.
26th.
Yeah, 3 days.
And yeah, so in a matter of 3 days, we went through 40 eggs.
Yep. Ate every well. I think I think two of them or three of them were broken. Everything else went
40
belly.
eggs.
We
Yeah.
went through 40 eggs and 7 pounds of bacon.
Yep.
And 2 pounds of breakfast sausage, 6 pounds of steak, 2.5
Provisionist.
pounds of regular sausage and or hot dogs, and 6 or 8 hamburgers.
Yep.
Plus
Just the 4 or
loaded
5
baked
of us.
potatoes.
Just the 4 or 5 of us.
Yep.
And where's my lamb?
You said you were getting your own. Did you go like you said you were going to what was that?
Yes, ma'am, I
Yesterday?
did.
Today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. About
Yes,
time.
ma'am,
You've
I
been putting
did.
it off for way too long.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
So Virginia says, so it's the first time you've all met in person. Seems like you've all been knowing each other for years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is the first time, Virginia, that we met in person. And we've been conversing online for almost a year, regularly. But this is the first time that we got together in person. And we are truly, all three of us, even though Vision Preparedness was not there, we are truly like brothers and sisters when we get together, whether it be talking about serious stuff, um,
Yep.
decompressing to each other, or harassing each other. We are truly like brothers and sisters.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how we all just clicked
Yeah.
and got along like from day one. Even though we have different views on some things, our core values are all the same,
Yeah.
which is
Yep.
amazing. Especially with, and I don't mean this in a harassing way. This is in a for real way of the generation gap.
So
Is
you trying to
it's
say I'm old or something?
You are.
I'm pretty sure Brian did when he said an old man was knocking on the door on his live stream,
You're old.
I
There's something
am.
wrong with
I'm
that.
old. I'm old for a reason.
right?
But you don't get old being, being no fool.
That's right. I'm old for a reason.
Yep.
And I'm
Yep.
just a few months behind you.
Experience. But even with the generation gap, we still have
Yeah.
those same core values to treat
Yep.
each other with respect,
Yep.
take care of each other, support each other, have each other's backs, tell each other when we're not doing the right thing.
Yep.
Like it's a family. It is
Yep.
truly a family amongst other people who are also in the family that aren't in this stream right
Yeah.
now. But
Right.
I mean, it's
Yep.
crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah. That was one of the things that helped me realize that um, there's some really good folks, because we just, even the night that I said I'm going to bed with um, Wow Wow Pop Pop, next to me, but we just, even that night, it took like 5 minutes for us to say, hey, no crying or nothing. Hey, oh, cool, Uh-oh, we're buffering. Oh, but it's like, okay, boom. It was like, and this guy over here in the chat a few months ago, it's like, yeah, Trent, and Chrissy was like, your mother was like, Trent, said, he wanted you to, something, and so I saw your vision preparedness, and no, he said vision. I said, hey, all right, cool. Here's my contact information. We'll talk one day. A few days later,
Mm-hmm.
we jumped on the phone, and how long did we speak?
It was three. It was no less than 3 hours.
3 hours.
Yeah.
And it's like I knew him for 10 years.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It
You
is.
know?
And it's like that now when we all talk. Well, when we talk off of a live, we talk for a minimum of 2 hours, minimum, and usually goes into
1
three,
o'clock,
3.5 hours. Truly.
Yes.
I mean,
2
you
o'clock.
would think we would run
Yes.
out of things to talk about, being that we had never met before, but
Right.
we have so much to share and talk about, and different opinions and views and discussions, respectful conversation. Even though we can agree to disagree,
Yep.
we hear each other's views on different topics. And trust me, this panel, we do not agree on everything across the board at
No, we
all. There
don't.
are things that we are hardline, absolutely will not cross it, even though the other person is on the other line. And that's okay. That's totally okay. We respect each other for having those opinions and those beliefs and those views, but we still talk about, if y'all ever get to talk to me off of camera, I am one who will be like, I need to ask a question and I hope it doesn't offend you. Because a lot of things offend people in the world today. And I will ask questions, and respectfully, they will give me my answer based on how they see things that I can't see because of whatever reason, how I grew up, where I grew up, my gender, my race, whatever. There's things that I don't understand because I don't see it through their eyes, and they'll explain it. And the same thing with from me being
Yep.
from my generation and being a female and being my race, which it's kind of funny because Brian got to hear at the trip ways that I am treated, not at home, elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that he was shocked, because it's a lot
He's
of
a
what I
black
go
guy.
through. A lot of what I go through, they have gone through growing up. And Brian was shocked. He was like, "Oh my goodness. Oh my." And I'm like, "I'm telling you, like, you, when y'all were talking about the one day, I absolutely understood what you were saying. You just didn't understand how I understood." But I've been there. I've been on the receiving end. But it's amazing to be able to talk about things and hear different views and ideas, even learn new shortcuts.
No,
from other people.
We'll share that maybe a little later on. Victor Papa knows, but he may know. Then again, he may not know some of my shortcuts.
It's learning things from each other to be a better person and
Exactly.
understand diversity. It really is.
And just to have a core group, and even if it never ever gets any bigger,
Right.
I'm cool.
Yeah.
We have a triangulation on the East Coast, and I'm cool, and
I'm cool with it staying like this, but I'm also okay if it grows into a square and
or maybe an octagon.
If you
It
want
needs to
that
grow into a square.
Square?
And then
well,
some.
we kind of already are a square if you think about it.
Well, technically, yes.
Yeah, we're just the outside personalities.
You're correct. It is a square, yes.
And
we need to grow our square, I'll say that.
Correct.
Yeah, but you have to really be trusted.
Yeah.
I mean,
but at the same token, you have to get to know people in order to trust them.
You have to show yourself friendly.
That's right.
And
I don't like people anyway, so that's just how it is.
It's okay. I'm not going to preach. Let me be quiet. But
Brian, did I miss anything about the trip that you can think of?
The hurt?
Oh, you know what I missed that was like so important?
What?
All of our bug eating.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, your what?
Bug eating.
Every time. Well, Brian went live on his stream. I think the last night we were there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we went
did
live.
Something on the first night, I think. I don't remember.
You did the first night before I got there because I was
strawberries,
watching.
had me kind of funny, but
the last night we were there, this happened to us 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
But the second, we were sitting around the fire pit, everything was calm. It was cooled off. There was a nice breeze.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Soon as he hit go live, a swarm of mosquitoes came in.
Have you ever seen a cloud of mosquitoes? You put your arm through it and it kind of folds because it was.
What?
They were flying. I was trying to talk on his live and answer questions, and they kept flying in my mouth, and I would be like, so we just...
and I was like,
out. And
it's on the live if anyone wants to check it out.
Yeah. If you watch that live, you'll see me eating bugs almost the entire live stream, and it was funny. And then they started going in openings on clothing and trying to get in the ears and
you just again and I'm like, well, what? Breathing in bugs.
It was terrible. I am telling you, it was a cloud. If the daylight was on, you would have actually seen a cloud. It was so many of them. And if I would have thought about it, I would have taken a picture of the top of your lantern just to see how many actually landed on it and cooked.
I don't remember if I
there
took
were
a picture.
Hundreds that landed on top of his lantern.
So I had a propane lantern. Of course, it gets hot.
Thank you, blessings. We are family. We are crazy, but we family.
Yeah, you know what, guys? We're
them more than me.
And I can't wait for our family to be extended to more of our not only DNA family, but more of the family and body of Christ. But the lantern, it gets hot, and of course the light attracts the mosquitoes. There were at the following day we can see hundreds of mosquitoes. I have a lantern that's supposed to be sealed. I have mosquitoes inside the lantern. Mm-hmm. It was so much fun.
Except for eating them. I could have done without that part, or going in my ears.
Yeah, yeah. And
It wasn't just a
something went in my mouth, and it was crunchy. My
well, I
wife
spit mine
saw
out.
it,
I
just
didn't try
came
to
in.
eat
She's like,
them.
ugh.
What was y'all eating? Squirrel?
No, it
Flying
was,
squirrels.
yeah, flying squirrels.
Rocky.
It's like
Yeah,
crunchy.
yeah.
I'm like, what the hell was that?
It was. I think I had one fly straight into the back of my throat as
Yep,
I must have inhaled at the same
yep,
time, and it was like, "Goo," stuck in
yep.
the back of my throat. And I was like, I
She
sounded
said,
like a cat coughing up a hairball.
yep. And like she was like, oh my goodness, he went in my mouth. And I went, huh? And then I had like three come in my mouth. It was pretty cool. And we just sitting here at one point just going,
Yeah, if y'all go back and watch the live, Be Ready today's live stream, the first 10 minutes it's
at
a
least.
terrible there's an echo, but you can still kind of hear, but you'll see us just in the first 10-15 minutes fighting for our lives against these mosquitoes.
Yeah.
They were terrible. And I've been in Minnesota during mosquito time, and they were worse than I ever seen in Minnesota.
It was pretty bad. It was really bad. You know, I was thinking if my wife would have came, she would have said, okay, you know what? I'm going home. I'm going to come back in 3 days to come pick you up. It was bad. It was really bad.
I wish she could have made it though. She would have had a
Yeah.
good time, even though everything.
I know.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was.
Yeah, I'm on speaker. She hears everything. She's hearing everything right now. She just took my boo-boos out, but she hears you. You know. Yep.
Next time we're all gonna be together, and ooh, we are gonna cut up even more than before. Thank you. Marco put the link to the video of us eating mosquitoes.
Oh, did he?
Right.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
And if you guys can get past the echo on that video, I highly recommend you watch it, even if you turn the volume off. Just seeing us flap around and spitting stuff out and choking on mosquitoes is hilarious. And if you put it even in 2 times the speed, it's even funnier. I'm telling you. I did that. I was trying to skip through the echo, so I put it on 2 times the speed, and we're like, it is hilarious. Yeah,
Oh my
it's
goodness.
funny. It was
That's
funny.
crazy.
Yeah.
It was bad, but it was funny.
It was hilarious. It was funny. It was funny. But we had so much fun, and we had so much fun.
And so I had to be the big brother and check up on y'all, to make sure everybody was to and from. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
We had okay service.
Yeah.
It was acting up a little bit. I mean, it was 5G, but
mine was in and out. I wouldn't have been able to stream from mine.
Yeah.
I only had one bar.
Yeah, mine kind of broke up in and out, and I learned something. Vision. I had VPN on.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Turn that off.
I always use
Right.
VPN. And I did turn it off. It wasn't my phone acting wonky afterward. I had
It's
to
the
reboot.
VPN dropping and picking up and dropping and picking up.
But I learned that I had VPN on. Yeah.
All right. So 4 minutes or less, Brian. Best thing and anything you would change. You got 2 minutes or less.
You mean from the trip?
Yes. Best thing you would change.
The best thing, and then I would change. And then one thing I would change.
Yes.
Okay. The best thing was how some of our folks rolled up into camp. By far.
And that's all we're going to say about that.
That's all I'm going to say about that. So much so to the point where I told my wife and I showed her pictures, and she was like, okay, that's us. So we're kind of sort of planning things right now.
Okay.
You never know. You never know, Victor Papa, how we going to roll up in there.
I understand.
Yep.
Something you would change.
I wouldn't have brought so much stuff because I brought my shortwave radios. I I I brought ceramic plates, and I forgot. Long story, but I brought ceramic plates. I bought a tablet, a laptop. You know, way too much stuff. Another thing. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
One more thing. I have to get my power game on. I would have, if I something I would have changed, I would have planned more effectively with my battery backups. That's what that would change. And for us, it's critical now.
Vision. Best thing you heard from the trip and something you would have changed that you heard us doing from the trip. I already know what the change thing is going to be.
Do you?
You wouldn't have given a snake so many chances.
That's very true.
I was going to say.
As soon as somebody threw something and missed, it'd be like, ah, plain and simple.
I tell you what,
I know.
You know what? See, Christy was kind of subdued with what she said.
Doesn't matter.
That's chambered.
That's not the point.
It was chambered, and then it was verified chambered, and it was pointed with the light.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have needed to verify it's chambered because it's always chambered, and it'd just been gow, and so it'd have been like, chambered. Okay, I'm going to bed. Good night.
Okay. Funniest thing you heard from the trip. I'm gonna mute you, Brian, so you can't talk over him.
The funniest when you ate the sassafras and he was like, "Is that safe?"
Is that toxic?
Is it toxic?
Is that toxic?
That's the funniest thing.
Well, you know, sassafras, they said that it was, it has, what is it, carcinogens.
And I do have one other thing that I would change.
What's that?
Is that I rolled up there Friday night.
Mm-hmm. My change would have been that the entire family would have been there.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
And we were looking because where we were situated, the entrance was across the lake, and it was like a cut in the bushes, and so every time something went through, we were like, "Ha ha ha!" Is that a truck? Oh, that's a black truck. Oh no, that's a
Yeah. You'd have known because I'd windows down. You would have known it was me.
So one of the many best things, I already told you my change. One of the many best things was the look on your face when your chair went into the sand.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I was sitting there with this cool chair, and it it's one of the chairs that it's this long, but it folds out and it has a little capture butt thing, and it's once you get the hang of it, it's kind of cool. Like you kind of float, and I'm not too small, I'm like, yay. Well, it sunk in the because the place was used to be a sand, was it a sand field or something like that? But long story short, the weight started pushing the legs into the sand, and I didn't know what was happening. I'm like, what's going on? It's like, oh, this thing broke, and I'm trying to grab because the chair's like, I don't know, only like this.
It's a tripod.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm about to fall. But yeah, that was fun.
Okay. Do you have something, Vision? Okay, so I just posted your link in the live again.
Yes.
Okay.
It's about time for you to start your live, and we are going to jump over there. I want to thank everyone for joining us and hearing about our awesome adventures. And we will definitely be sharing some videos and some pictures. And in future adventures, we will be sure to take lots of videos and pictures there as well and have a better connection so we can do live. And I appreciate very much you all joining us and the birthday wishes. It was a pleasure to spend this time with everyone across the world and laugh and come together. And if you can, please hit that thumbs up. I
Hit the
would love
thumbs up,
to.
y'all. Like, subscribe, share it out.
Please share it out. You know,
We
and
appreciate y'all spending time with us.
yes,
Yes.
and please come on over to Vision.
Yes. Yep. Definitely jump
Stop
over
on by,
to
pull
Vision.
up a chair. We're gonna have. I got an interesting topic, and it's not what you think, but it's gonna be good, and we're gonna have fun.
Gonna be about squirrels. Cooking some squirrels.
That works.
In the butter.
And I'm gonna light my fire and get stuff going because I got mosquitoes up here too.
Nowhere
Yeah.
near like they had down there, though.
Yeah, true.
I
And
hope it's
Virginia
not.
Bushcraft, that was probably the first and last time you'll ever hear me sing because I can't sing.
Unless she goes back and watches the replay. Then she can watch it over and over and
Yeah.
over.
And somebody downloads it and puts it as a meme.
That's fine. That's her happy birthday. I'm
Yes.
okay with that.
I'm gonna copyright it. It's mine.
There you go.
All right. Thank you guys so much. We're gonna jump over to Visions, and
I'll be there shortly. Thanks,
appreciate
everybody.
God bless everyone. Mwah.
God bless.